you mess up and then you kind of beat yourself up. That's not a good path to go down. So what I try and do is I try and have a real positive relationship with my mistakes. I believe that your mistakes are like the biggest blessing. You learn from them, and that's
Absolutely.
how you get better and how you get stronger.
Dude, you're a beast. Holy. To all of you out there watching, please welcome Chris Turner to Drumeo. It's great to have you here, man.
Thank you, dude. Nice to see you.
I remember, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, I first saw some playthroughs from you doing some Ocean's 8 Alaska songs. So I wanted to have you on here for a long time, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you, dude. It's cool to be here.
So we're gonna be talking about a whole bunch of stuff, practicing, your
dude.
approach, bass drum stuff. But for any of you who aren't familiar with Chris Turner, you're the drummer for the band Ocean's 8 Alaska.
Yes.
And you guys tour all the time.
I'm also a solo act now.
Yes, which is the song you just played, 40 Roll.
Yeah, so the song I just played was my first ever song I released as a solo act.
Yeah.
Under the name just Chris Turner.
Nice. And the album that you put out is called Steezy.
Hell yeah, dude.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Go check it out if you haven't heard it. It's actually insane. So I don't know like how you would even classify what that is. It's like metal drumming, but it has like electronic vibes to it.
Yeah, it's a happy mix of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all my favorite things mashed into one, you know. Like what I listen to in my own time is sort of like electronic chill out or like electronic like beats or like sub heavy beats, like stuff like that. I kind of just vibe to it. But then when it comes to drums, what really excites me is like real little specific details and like I like choppy rhythms and complex rhythms. Like I like to do to like double kick the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get too excited about that. I get excited by weird cut up rhythms and stuff.
Yeah.
So I sort of just slap the two together, dude. I put my weird chopped up rhythms and fast little techie intricate things over the music I listen to.
Yeah.
That made Steezy.
It's great, man. Even just, I've got the click track in my ears when I was just listening to
Horrible,
that.
dude.
And like all these like shifts and tempo changes and
yeah.
stuff. It's pretty wild. So go check out the record. Lastly, we do this kind of stuff inside of Drumeo all the time. We have a free trial where there's a link right below as well, drumeo.com/trial. We've got 5,000 song transcriptions and drumless tracks, full method that will teach you how to play drums, and lots of new stuff coming up in the new year in 2024 as well. And of course, lots more on the YouTube channel coming here from Chris as well. So stay tuned for all of that. So Chris, we're talking about a lot of different stuff in this lesson. I'm stoked to talk about your approach to practicing and writing and a whole bunch of different things, but let's do one more track.
Oh, sure.
Before we get into it, because
I shouldn't have turned around.
It's all good. You've got another track called Butcher Boys.
Yeah, dude.
And what do we need to know about this song? It's on your solo record as well.
Yeah, dude.
Before you play it for us.
I mean, Butcher Boys is just everything I just explained. It's the exact kind of music I listen to the extent of there's an artist that I really enjoy listening to, and I just hit him up and said, can you make me a beat for my solo record? And this is by him.
Nice.
So it's the exact kind of music I listen to, and then I just did my thing over it. So
beauty.
It's more of what I just explained, you know.
Sweet, man. This is Butcher Boys. You're crazy, man. Just like seeing you play double kick from this angle, and I know we'll talk about your approach to bass drum playing and stuff, but just like how hard you're playing, and those rhythms are crazy choppy.
This is
They sound so good.
This is like the main thing that people say when they see me in person. So, well, you maybe can vouch for this because you see my videos.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, yeah, he must hit quite hard to get those sounds without samples or whatever. So a bit out of breath.
Yeah.
But when you're in the room, it's from anyway, what people tell me is a very different experience because they see the whole kick, like the whole shell getting rattled about. And it's one thing people do as well when I've like taught them in lessons is they stand in front of the kit and they walk back like 5, 7, 10 meters and they're like, I still feel the air.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can agree with any of that, but like normally people say it doesn't translate in a video, the power of the kicks in person. I
will say from sitting right here, like, you can feel it in the room. So just to put it out there. Let's get into it, man. We're talking about, I'm really excited to talk about this with you because you have a lot of good points and you have a really interesting process. You have an interesting approach to learning songs, writing, even practicing.
Definitely practicing.
One thing you said you're big on is having a positive relationship with making mistakes, especially in the context of practicing.
Yeah.
I think drummers a lot of the time we're really hard on ourselves when we're learning new stuff. So,
which can be great, but being hard on yourself can be a great thing, but this is exactly what I mean. It's having a positive relationship with the mistake. So if you have a bad relationship with your mistakes and you're hard on yourself and you mess up and then you kind of beat yourself up, that's not a good path to go down, especially when you're in the world of the internet where a lot of stuff's pre-recorded, so there are things that people can do. And I've seen people get in like a bit of a mess because they might edit their performances and then they get comments on their performance and it kind of impacts them negatively because they're thinking it's not really me. And I've seen some drummers get really nervous to play live because they're thinking, well, I'm not going to sound like that video. And it's kind of like a downward spiral. So what I try and do is I try and have a real positive relationship with my mistakes and I try and push this on people. I believe that your mistakes are like the biggest blessing you can have because you learn from them and that's how you get better and how you get stronger. And I like to view it as, well, every time I played this song, this bit is messy. Why is it messy? How can I make it better? And repeat. So if you can learn to sort of love your mistakes and work with them, you can sharpen it pretty good. And then when you get comments on your videos, you feel great because it's all you. And then when you go play live, you're like, well, I'm gonna rip it today, right now. Like I'm like, I'm here. I'm gonna rip some song. I've actually had a really long week as well, as you know. I mean, this is my 4th time zone in the past 5 days.
Yeah. And you're still here doing it.
I've done 30 hours of drumming in the past 3 days.
Yeah.
In Detroit, and now I'm over here in Vancouver. My shins are on fire. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, like,
it's reality.
I'm still happy to pull up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of in my opinion, a nice place to be instead of this sort of downward spiral of I'm no good. Like,
and I think one thing I've noticed too about even just the way you approach recording and playing songs like this is even over the last few days recording stuff in the studio.
Yeah.
You'll do a take or two. You'll go listen to it. You'll analyze it, and you'll be able to be honest with yourself and say, okay, I was playing at 75% there.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to try to get up to 80 or 90%. And it seems like you are really honest with, you know the level you can play at. And you don't take that as, oh, that was a bad performance. It's not going to get any better.
No, it's different because the little things that you learn as well when you're in a new situation is interesting. Like you have to change and adapt because every live show, things won't be exactly where you want them to be and things break. And you know what I mean? Like today, this is not my personal drum kit. So everything's set up slightly different. The pedal is handling very different to what I'm used to. And when I first pulled up, I was like,
what am I going to do?
Let's learn a new pedal sort of thing. And when I was doing those takes, the first take I did, I went in and you guys all looked at me and went, damn. And I went, I was like a 6 out of 10. Like for a video shoot, my standard is like 8 or above.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I was saying about learning on the spot, so I go in there, what bits did I struggle with? Like for some reason, this kit, I struggled on this section.
Yeah.
And I went and I had a look and for some reason I did all that early. I don't know why I was so eager. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna push it back. And you do a few takes and you get it right.
So let's talk about the way obviously you're a producer, you write all your own music, the 2 tracks that we just heard you play at the beginning here. What's your process for learning this kind of stuff? Because I know if I was to try to tackle that, like that would take me a long time.
There's no process in learning it at all for me because I wrote it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're
Also,
programming all of that into software?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the note of saying I wrote it, I work closely with 2 guitarists. I don't play guitar. I don't play bass. Dan McNally, James Kennedy, just wanted to shout them out.
Nice.
They put up with me, is how I word it. You know, whether I'm like singing a riff and they just try and make that notes. There's a lot of I sing a lot. I don't sing good either. So, but yeah, the idea is sort of developed with the 3 of us.
Okay.
Just wanted to put that out there. So anyway, so I play the Pro Tools is what I say because I don't play guitar. I do a lot of like pitch shifting and a lot of messing around with guitars and like messing around with rhythms, and I move rhythms back and forth. Doesn't have the right flow. There's not the right push pull. Like I kind of, but I spend that long kind of composing the ideas. Like I'm talking, sometimes it'll be well over a month for one song.
Yeah.
And I'll be sitting on the computer for hours, like messing with this bit, that bit, and there's no learning to do because at the end of the month it is just ingrained in your brain.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you can't forget it. You go to bed like, I wish I could forget this.
After like hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Literally, it will literally be. The only thing for me is I believe that, you know, you have to do it with metal. It's all about like metric accuracy and dynamic accuracy. You know, it's a stylistic thing, and it has to kind of be right for metal, and it has to be right with any genre. But stylistically, you have to play it to, you know, a metric and velocity, quite a high standard in those areas. And so even though I know it, it doesn't mean I can play it well. So the learning process for me starts on a pad. I get it as good as I can get it on a pad. I hear all the little flams, all the little inconsistencies, and I sharpen it up. And then pretty much the very last stage, I jump on the kit, like maybe a couple of days before I go in the studio, and then I just apply it. There's only, the translation doesn't take much effort. It'll be, you know, I've done everything single strokes on the pad, but I want to hit my ozone. So I need to throw a double in with my right hand to fret my left. Like there's
orchestrate differently.
Small little orchestrations, and it's not as cut and dry as I program it and I learn it exactly. There are some sections where it's real specific and I have to do it real specific, but there are a lot of sections where it's like you can play around. So the learning process, honestly, is not a process. It's just
it's the writing process.
It is the writing process. Yeah,
and I think that's a good point because I think a lot of people get hung up on they need to be at the kit all the time to practice. When if you're driving to work or you're on a tour bus or you're on wherever you are, if you're just listening to a recording, if you're learning a cover band set for a top 40 band, you can just listen to that on repeat.
Yeah, that repetition's good for me as well.
Yeah, you can just learn the set.
In terms of like writing on the kit as well, a lot of people say, do you not want to write on the kit? But honestly, like I've had bad times with that, with metal, because I get super hype on like this crazy techie pattern, and I'm like, it's all this weird inter-limb coordination, and this is doing that, and that's doing that, and I get super hype, and I put all my brain power in playing it. Yeah. And then as soon as I listen back to it, I'm like, I mean, it just sounds bad. Like it's super techie, but it doesn't sound like good music. Yeah. Good music's very subjective, but to me, it doesn't sound like something, you know, I'd enjoy listening to. So the reason I like doing things on the computer is because I can be a consumer myself. I can be a listener. So I can input an idea and press play. You know, I'm not thinking about what I'm playing. Yeah. I just listen. And if I like how it sounds, I keep it. If I don't like how it sounds, I try again or scrap it or whatever. And that's cool as well, because sometimes you end up writing things that you don't really know how you're going to play. Yeah. But if I like how it sounds, I'm pretty adamant on keeping it. And I end up actually learning a lot of new stuff doing that. So it's maybe a backwards approach, but it totally works for me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even just from watching those two performances, like obviously you're playing at an extremely high level, even just with the bass drum. Rudimental ideas and stuff like that. That didn't happen overnight for you, I assume.
No.
So like, what kind of work did you put into like even get your bass drum playing to that point? Like, were you just drilling with a click? Do you practice a lot with a click now?
I don't do anything without a click.
Okay.
Scary. That was my, well, you know, actually that's a funny story. Because back in the day, I thought it was more scary to play with a click. I was like, oh, wow, what if I fall out? Yeah. What if I mess up? Like, it felt scary to play with a click. But then it was literally my first ever show. I was only a kid, but my mum filmed it.
Nice.
Hell yeah. And it was one of those old camcorders with the little video where you rewind it. The little
shout out to Chris's mom.
Right? But I remember watching it back, and I felt like I'd nailed it. Yeah. And I I watched that video back and I went bright red in my face watching it because it was so like adrenaline was pumping and I was speeding and slowing and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah.
I was like, I need that click, and my mind just 180'd. And then since that day, it's been like my click is my safety net. My click is my best friend. I don't do anything without my click. Like, so yeah, I do everything with a click now.
Nice.
In terms of like how I got my kick drumming to the standard it is now, honestly, it's just from doing it all the time. And I don't mean all the time like on the kit.
Yeah.
I just mean everywhere I went. And it wasn't a deliberate effort. I wasn't like 11, 12-year-old kid, whatever, saying like, I want really great foot chops. I was just like, I just really like this kind of music. So I'm on the school bus and tapping. Like I've got my headphones on and I'm like just playing metal songs.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I just everywhere I went, like at the dinner table, like you name it, I'd just always be tapping my feet. It became like second nature to have both feet tapping.
Yeah.
So I think it's just been an upbringing, like a lifetime of just always having my feet playing. And they're just friends now. They just play nice.
Adds up over time.
Over time, yeah. And I think touring so much helped because before I toured, I still was practicing a lot. And I was still thinking like, oh yeah, I've not got this element up to scratch or this element. But we started touring like, I mean, some years like 8 months a year. I think we did one year when we did, I think 9 months on the road. And when you do that, like 200, 250 shows a year, every night, like these songs back to back, your feet real like become kind of bulletproof. And you can't really get that practice at home because no matter how much you think you're rehearsing, nothing replicates a live show. At least I found you always hit harder, you always get sweatier, it's always hot, there's always different environments. And just doing that every night really is training.
But even just the pressure to execute at a high level in front of an audience.
It's a lot of training just in doing it.
Yeah.
So I think honestly for me, it's just doing it.
Yeah.
Just doing it whether I'm a kid or whether I'm on stage. I've just always been doing it.
Yeah. So if you were, let's say like you're starting out with double kick, you can play a bit. Like, is there some kind of drill or some kind of exercise you would do with a click that you'd recommend? Obviously, you're doing a lot of like rhythmic stuff and variations and whatever. But
well, like again, there's like two things with double kick, isn't there? There's like just straight through, like 30-second notes or whatever the subdivision is.
Yeah.
Where you just keep it going. That takes a different sort of approach. That you tend to use a double stroke for that, or swivel or heel toe or some sort of technique to achieve that. But like I said, that doesn't excite me too much. What excites me is the choppy rhythms.
Yeah.
And to get the choppy rhythms good, you have to be super confident with both feet. I think people forget that it's one instrument basically, and I hear the term a lot like dominant foot and weaker foot, and I think you need to get rid of that mindset altogether. You just want both feet. You want to be equally confident in both feet. Yeah. I don't, like, you can pretty much ask me to lead any grouping with either foot right now and I'll be just as happy to hit with full power and confidence. And so like
Can you show us
of course,
a few? That'd
so
be great.
like, I mean, the first thing you want to do, actually, I'll show you with my hands real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Groups of three, if you're doing groups of three, happens a lot in metal, you know, fast stuff. If you play it how most people would play with their dominant leg leading, so right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, you're only so fast you can go because your right leg is permanently bouncing up and down. There's no rest. It's like, that's not very good for a leg to do. There's no rest. But if you look at your left leg, so it's like this is the sort of imbalance that you get with a dominant and a weaker leg, and you want to get rid of that. You want to have, you know, equal rest time, equal workload, and that then you can maximize. So that's my approach is alternate pretty much everything.
Okay.
Which is why I said you got to be confident. So I would do right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and then you get. I mean, that sort of pattern is like easy on a kick drum, you know. I mean, you've been doing that all along, haven't you? Yeah. But to go is much more difficult. So using the group of three example, I'm quite comfortable to go. But I know a lot of people would find that very unusual.
Yeah.
But again, you can hit that pretty quick. And it's not very taxing because you have so much rest time.
Yeah.
You know, to try and do that with a right leg lead would be quite difficult. But you can kind of keep that going for it without tiring. Alternating right, left, right, left, right, left. So That's all it is.
Nice.
Do the same with fives. You know?
Yeah.
It's just about being confident with both legs. Because again, it's one instrument.
Yeah.
It's one drum. If you want to maximize both legs, you got to use both legs. But a lot of people just use one leg and fill in some gaps with their weaker leg.
Yeah.
It's not a great approach.
That's great, man. And I guess you can do that with any grouping. And once you get into,
anything,
everything is just combinations of.
Everything is just a like a pattern I like is 3-1-1s, like a group of 3, 2 single hits, group of 3, 2 single hits.
Yeah.
Like so I do that right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And it's like for me a very easy pattern to play. But most people play that right, left, right, 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 left, right, right, right. I think the fastest I can do that would be like I find that really difficult. But as soon as you alternate, you can like it's like half the effort, but double the speed and double the power. So having that having the confidence in both legs and having that alternating approach, I find really valuable.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, dude.
Let's while we're talking about bass drum, you have a really unique approach to playing the kicks. It's like the first thing you told me when you came in here.
Oh, you gotta hit hard,
you're like,
dude.
The way you hit the kick drum. So maybe just explain a little bit about like how you approach playing the kick.
Well, I mean, like I said, growing up, I didn't really play on a kit.
Yeah.
If I was actually not just on my legs on a bus, I'd actually be on my pad.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear my feet, so I used to just hit the floor like without a pedal or a pad, just really hard.
Yeah.
Just so I could hear my feet. And then when I started doing metal stuff, one of the things that excites me the most is just real drums. I just really like the sound of real drums.
Yeah.
So I wanted to play metal and just hit hard and hit loud and powerful. Like that's part of the emotion of the genre for me and part of the feel of the genre for me. So yeah, I hit real hard, dude. And to get those tones as well, you have to have, I tune very loose on the bat head.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even really listen to them to tune them now. I just make sure that these are just loose enough to sort of move by hand.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much finger tight, honestly. I can undo it.
And that's kind of around your whole kit too. Like the toms are pretty...
toms are dead as hell. Like
yeah.
It's only the snare that gets tuned, if you will. But like that's part of the genre again, like getting that slap and attack and very short tones, so it doesn't get cloudy when you're playing a lot of hits and muddy. But I just love hitting hard. When everyone sits down, like when you sat down yesterday, you started hitting how you'd hit, and I was like, dude, double that.
Yeah.
Double that power, because the drum really opens up then. Like it kind of sounds bad if you play it gently, because it's so dead, it kind of sounds dead.
Yeah.
You almost have to push the air to the reso head, and that's when you get the life and the tone back out of it. But
and I guess that's I guess that's partially why like you sit higher.
So you
can get more force going into the kick.
Yeah, just sort of gravity fed.
Hit hard. That's the moral of the story.
Well, I mean, it's a bit more complex than hit hard, because anyone can hit hard.
Yeah.
It's about consistent power. It's not just about power. So I have this thing. This might be what you were talking about. My speed power max as well.
That's the one.
There we go. We got there. So I see a lot of drummers, and they sort of like in metal bands, there'll be like a breakdown with 4 on the floor, and you see them like really hitting hard.
Yeah.
And then like some 16 notes come in, and they start using their ankles, and their sound guy's like, "Oh, the kick's vanished," and there's a lot of issues then, and then people start saying, well, there must be a better way. But for me, it's about keeping it, taking that responsibility on yourself and keeping it consistent at the source. So that's where I came up with this speed power max little idea that I've got, where I've kind of figured out like a velocity that I can play my fastest hits at their maximum power. And that's sort of the threshold I set. So then I could play harder for like 4 on the floor or like simple hits, but I actually restrain myself and I keep them at the speed power max. And then the faster bits, I could, it'd be much easier to play them down here, but I put in the effort, and I try and keep everything. I mean, it sounds dynamicless playing. It's part of the genre in metal, honestly. Like part of metal is having consistent kicks, so it's stylistically correct. It's not dynamicless drumming, as much as it may seem it. But I just kind of have this threshold, and I try and meet it for every hit. And I mean, you saw it in there yourself on the screen. Like the difference between right and left leg is. Well, we couldn't tell we were playing a game. We were like, which one's right leg, which was left. And whether it's fast or slow, they're all just sort of...
Yeah, and you're not using any triggers.
No.
It's all real.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, they're not mixed drums either, are they? In there, they're all raw stem, and it sounds like a mixed kit because it's just sort of played, in my opinion, like stylistically, dynamics are already ingrained in the stem, you know. But the mics help as well. The mics placements. I got the 91A real close to the bat head here.
Yeah.
And then I've got the Heil. I forget the name. It's like the PR48 or something. But it's the Heil kick out. They're a good combo, I think. We got the sub kick as well today, which is See, that's when you're spoiled. you need the in and the out. You don't need the sub, but that's like a
special occasion.
Yeah, that's nice when you can get it.
Nice, man. Let's before we chat about a few more things, let's do another track.
Sure.
You've got Paradigm by Ocean's 8 Alaska.
Let's do it.
Anything we need to know about this one?
It's a whole lot more kick.
Okay. Even more than before.
Just kick drums, dude.
Nice. Let's do it. There it is.
There it is. Kicks, dude.
I feel like I need like lines to say after each of these performances because it's kind of mind blowing.
Lines?
Yeah, like things to say. I'm like amazed.
Oh, that's a good line. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah, see, that's the fast bit in the middle. I think I saw you get your phone out. I go in like a trance when I play.
Yeah.
We should talk about that because people think I look real weird and starey, but actually, let's talk about that quick.
Yeah.
So,
please.
like, people think that like, I don't feel it and I'm not into it.
Yeah.
But that is me into it, dude. Like, if I'm looking around, like, I'm not focused.
You're not in the zone.
Yeah. When I like drop into that state, I'm like in my own head, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm just like so engrossed in it, and it's the best feeling. But it's like just because I'm not headbanging for metal, people think like, oh, he's not vibing it, dude.
I mean, your hair's short, so.
Yeah,
I mean, what are you gonna do?
But thank you, man.
Yeah.
Even though I was in my zone, I noticed you pull your phone out. Like that section, it's just alternating.
Yeah.
Like, so it's, from memory, it's like 5-1-5-9. Yeah, so it'll be right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You know what I mean? You just alternate the hits and.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. It's working.
I want to jump back and talk about just like your approach to the way you play drums, record drums, all your videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably don't know that your whole thing is like one take.
Yeah, I love the one take.
You're not doing edits. You're not using samples. Like it's all real drums.
Yeah, that's what excites me. I mean, that's like why I play drums. So it started off, ready for a life story, dude.
Yeah,
You've opened
hit
up a
me.
big can of worms here for me. But when I was 4 years old, I saw my dad play. He was a drummer. He played like an open air festival.
Nice.
And he like line checked. He just like line checked his kick. And like little 4-year-old me, I was like, the whole thing went through me. And I just remember the feeling I got was like, my dad made that noise.
Yeah.
Like he did that, filled this whole place. I was like, he must feel like the king.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I thought it was really amazing. And when he got off stage, I said, you have to teach me how to drum. And, I went through a journey then obviously of learning what I really like, but I've just come full circle back to that. So one of my first tours I did, I want to say it was with Vale Mayer and Chelsea Green,
Nice.
but it was a kit share. And the kick drum was like stuffed with like blankets and duvets and stuff, and they're triggering up. And it was just like a case of, well, you're using the kit, we can't even fit a mic in there, let's try the trigger. And again, back then I didn't know what I liked because I was still new to all of this stuff. So I said, yeah, sure, let's try it. And I remember I just had a horrible time from the get-go, really. Like I was hitting the snare and it was like cross-triggering. I was like firing random kicks, and sometimes I'd like hit one and it'd have like a flam.
Yeah.
And I would regularly sort of feel just so unhappy. Like it didn't make me feel good. I was like, there has to be a better way. I wish I could just put a mic in there and it just be what I do.
Yeah.
Obviously I just didn't have that luxury on that first run of shows. But since then, I was like all about live has to be with a mic. Like I just didn't enjoy it. And I want to get one thing clear. A lot of people think I like hate triggers. Of course I don't hate triggers. I don't hate anything in drumming. I just love it all.
Yeah.
Plenty of my friends use triggers and they're hype on it. And I love the passion. They get really excited about getting the settings right and dialing it in. And that just never excited me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. But there's absolutely no hate towards triggers. It's just a personal thing I just enjoy. I just get more thrill out of a live drum.
Yeah.
So that's where the no trigger thing started. We'd just done our first record with sample replacement as well. And I really wasn't the biggest fan of the drum sound on that. It felt fairly dynamicless to me. That was on Lost Styles.
Yeah.
But we struggled for budget. We self-funded it. But now we're signed, right?
Yeah.
So I go to the studio with Nick in Detroit, and I said to him, dude, I want to do no samples. And he was scared. It was like a big decision because he's like, well, I've got a reputation to uphold. And I was like, well, I'm scared too, but let's do this. And it was like a huge, scary decision, But we did the first record without it. And when we did it, say it's our second record, but mine and Nick's first record.
Yeah.
When we did it, it was like, that wasn't scary at all.
Yeah.
That was great. And then that became like yesterday's news. It was like too easy. What's the next thing?
Yeah.
Everything since then has had no samples, everything I've worked on. So it started with no triggers live, then it moved to no samples on recordings. Then I started doing these drum videos, and I was like, I don't like the whole culture of cutting in. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me. I found it stressful, actually. I even did it in Drumeo today and yesterday. Like, I don't like to stop talking and like reverse a sentence and then carry on. I'll redo the whole sentence because I get in a flow and I like that. I don't like the cut-in nature. So started doing these one-take drum performances, and that was a really big hurdle as well to like get it to it, because live, the standard that you play live is lower than for a video shoot. Yeah, because it's fine.
Yeah, there's other things to look at, but the video.
But like a video, it's like out forever. Yeah, it has to be your best. So I felt the pressure of those for a while, but then that became like, I don't mind doing the one take. I kind of prefer it. Yeah. I started to notice that like I tend to play tighter the more in the song I get, because I sink into it and I feel it more. It's like this weird thing I have. So you can see the progression. It goes on and on and on. Yeah. I also remember doing a record with Nick, and Nick was snapping it to the grid, and he was like, look at this, man, look at this stuff. And he's like cutting kick drums and moving it like a millisecond. Yeah. Or like 2 milliseconds. And we're like laughing. And I remember saying to him, I was like, can you even hear that? Yeah. And he said, no. And I said, well, why are you editing it then? Yeah. And he said, because it's what you do, you just have to. And that's when Steezy was born. Then I was like, if you can't hear it, maybe it's better without it. I was like, I want to do a record without that now. Do you know what I mean? It's been on to the next. Every time it's been a new layer, and each time it scares me. And every time I do it, I'm like, well, on to the next thing now.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people who don't know me, they come along and they see, oh, one take, no samples, no snap to grid. They're just a whole album of it, and they just think, well, there's no way. But for me, this is well over a decade.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Of steps progressing to it. So
it's
been a big process for me to get to this point where I feel comfortable doing it like this. But
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about the next step, dude. I'm thinking about doing another solo album, and I want to do the whole album on take.
Oh my goodness.
That's my next vision. I don't know how realistic that is.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, because now I'm like, I've done an album of one take. I was like, what's next?
It's like
I'm always thinking, what can I do now?
Yeah, it's like this pursuit of the most authentic punishment, but also like the most real, authentic version of what we do on the drums.
Yeah, dude.
And I know in like the metal genre, like it's common to use samples and quantize and all that stuff.
And again, there's no hate on it.
Yeah,
it's like a choice, a sound choice, a stylistic choice, a personal choice. But for me, like I said, going back to day one, what excited me was like just the sound of a real, like you making that noise, you know. And I remember I do it in line checks still. I play a kick and everyone always goes, oh! And I'm like, yeah, dude, I made that noise.
I felt it.
That really excites me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my whole sort of thing. I like to just do it. My standard for today is less, actually. So you know, I view this as a live show.
Yeah.
Because on these one takers that I do, I'll do like a few weeks of rehearsal for one song.
Yeah.
All day, every day, just that song. I'll get it perfect. And then I go to the studio and I'll like the whole day will be for one song.
Yeah.
You know, like it'll be have a go, have a rest, have a go, have a rest.
Yeah.
And they're all great, but I pick like my tippy top favorites. So the level of detail I can go to on those was obviously I can't replicate today because I'm just running through them.
Yeah.
And that's how I view live. You don't, it's fine.
Even though what it is. All the performances you've done in this session are all the way through.
Yeah, but but my
you're not spending 8 or 10 hours on.
No, I'm not trying again and again
song.
and again. No, but it's but my point is like my standard for today is like there's been plenty of little things where I'm like, oh, I know I can do that better, but also it's like it's fine. Yeah, it's not a one taker going out forever. Like
exactly.
So
that's awesome, man.
It's punishment though, dude. Like I punish myself.
Dude, drummers are like that though. It's weird.
I want to shout out my video guys and my engineers as well for that because they sit with me, dude. Yeah. They like, and they're like sitting in there going, this is dope. And I'm like, I want to do it again. And we're all tired, we're all hungry. And they're like, let's go again, dude.
Yeah.
And they don't bum me out. They don't go, come on, let's go. They're like, if you're not happy, let's go again.
Yeah.
Like
that's what you need.
Good for them, dude. They get punished as well.
Chris is going to close us out with Juice.
Juice, baby.
From his solo record. So see you all soon.